Danny, your sons are phenomenal athletes. Can't say enough about watching them and be able to perform and do the things they've done in the years that we've spent together as well. And really, all these guys are the same from a perspective of you want to get better, you want to improve, you want to find a way to get the job done, right? And I had the fortunate ability to not only be around great athletes, many of the ones that I think at one time, Tori, we had the number 12 um, draft pick in the NBA and the number one. We're sitting in, where were we at? In Des Moines, Iowa. I can't remember. And we're sitting at the embassy suites and we're watching those guys get drafted because we were working with those kinds of individuals. And today I would anticipate that both of them, if they had that opportunity with the issues that we were dealing with, they'd probably be still playing, if that makes sense. But that's how time goes on. My story individually with the patch came very simple because I do know a lot of people and involved with another company years ago. And Carrie Robertson called me up and said, "Hey, I got some stuff for your friend." And when she came, stopped by my office and said, "Hey, let's try this stuff." And it just happened to be within 2 weeks of me having to work the Final Four in 2022. And so I said, okay, let's give these things a shot. I signed up and said, let's take a look at it because when I traveled the world in racing, and it was one of those things in 29 years, I was in a different country every week. So I had that great opportunity to steal anything I could find. And I was a thief when it came to health, medicine, performance, rehabilitation, whatever I could find anywhere, whether I was in the East, in China, Japan, Italy, South America, wherever I could find anything that someone was using, I was all about trying it. So I'm pretty easy. So if y'all got something, just look me up on the website at Rice University and send it to me because I'll probably try it for you. That's the easy way to go. And we are involved in a lot of research and stuff today, and we've been playing around with the patches for quite some time. But I jumped into the Final Four. I'm using the X39 and the 49. I'm alternating them 4 or 5 days, but it's really an 8-day process of setting up in those large arenas, being able to organize X-ray, move things in, set up training rooms and portable situations for 4 teams, 4 cold tubs, I mean, it was an amazing time. And you're working about 16, 17 hours a day. And I'm 72 years old now. So I was about age, 70, 69 or 70 at the time. I still outwork everybody every day, but I'm wearing the patches constantly, and I think it's made a big difference for me. Some of the things I've noticed, same thing as you, Danny, my hair, it's almost white. It's got that color coming back. I think the biggest, disadvantage with those patches are the following. I got to go to the barber more often, cut my hair because it grows too fast now, right? Because that's an issue. But that's happened. My skin lacks, my tensibility. My skin is better. My brown liver spots that I had on my hands are leaving. Same on my face. Anything that I've had, they seem to be completely disappearing, which is better. Uh, 10, I think 12 and a half years ago, I had one hip done. And then 6 years after that, I had another hip done. So I got 2 titanium hips and I couldn't touch my toes probably, but in about 6 months after using the patches, I can put my hands now flat just on the ground because it's just one of those things that happen. So as I started to find myself change, we started to introduce it with our athletes. And the biggest thing that we can say is the following, from a distance, you might find an attraction in somebody that's way off in the distance, right? And that's probably how I look at how I place the X39s under my navel or putting them on my T7 on my back or making that alternative with the 2 pads. But realistically, we started to find out that if I use those pads at a localized area where there's pain, where I need range of motion, symptomatic relief, whatever it might be, that the entire process of this bounce back creates 3 peptides that are very special with a copper bind to it. And not to get into what they are, leucine, glycine, and histidine, but there's 8 total amino acids. And amino acids are neurotransmitters as well. And neurotransmitters mean that they stimulate the brain, which makes everything down below work much better. And there's a much more recovery process as that goes on. So in some of our ACL rehabilitation, as an example, we started to find out that if we were using them locally in scar points and other areas, those scars started to heal quicker. Range of motion came back. Symptomatic pain relief was subsided. And therefore, you could do more range of motion. You could rehab much quicker. I'd love to be able to see what was going on the depth, but those scars have a tendency to run flat instead of being real sticky. And I have a individual girl 5 weeks ago, she had an ACL. Her Mother is a former athlete at Rice University. She's now on the board of trustees. And so she said, "Hey, we're running out of therapy appointments. Can we drop her in and have you take a look at her?" So I looked at her last Saturday. I used the X39 on her right on that patella area where her most pain was, because when they do a ACL, they take part of that patellar tendon from the patella and the bone on the top part of the tibia. They cut that loose and they rewire that inside. So they don't take the entire thing, they just take a strip of it. And she came back, swelling is down today. I haven't seen her since Saturday. Pain relief is way down, range of motion is better, strength, her muscles are firing. So it does that. And that local perspective is as you look in the distance and you say, "Oh, how can I get things better?" And that might be things are going on naturally in your body. But if you do have that bump, that bruise, that insect bite, whatever it might be, and you place that patch on top of it, I will guarantee you you'll get a response and a relief of some sort that's going to give you some sort of a perspective of feeling better naturally.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Now I'm going to wrap this up a little bit and let you guys know that what do I know about transdermal patches? Well, I worked in racing for a long time. I worked for a man named Don Panos. He invented the nicotine patch. He also invented wax coating on antibiotics and things. He got involved in the race industry. Of course, he was a very heavy chain smoker because he was a billionaire and had a lot of stress in his life. And so we run around a few things. I was on Lear jets with him in other places. But the interesting thing about it is we started talking about the nicotine patch that he had invented. He left Mylan Pharmaceuticals and jumped off in another area. And one thing he told me, he goes, "It's not about the chemical in there. It's about the infrared bounce of the heat that makes this thing work. And then it does drive the drug in, right?" So that infrared, we don't have any drug in these patches. That's the great thing about it. I think there's a variety of, patented perspectives that make this thing happen. But as it bounces back into the system, it's because that heat reflection allows it to come back in and create those three amino peptides that really hit and string straight to a copper pot peptide, and that copper picks it up, and then things start to stimulate, right? And that so-called relief that you get is unbelievable, and things change. Now, I will tell you this: the younger you are, I think that you get a quicker response at most times. The older you are, things maybe happen a little bit slower. I'm still on a few medications, but I'm lowering those levels and things are happening because about, 72 years will wear you down pretty heavily. So one thing I can tell people, the people I've talked to is like, "Hey, give it time, let it work. It's going to work. Your entire body will find a way to make that happen for you because it's very natural." So just a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to work with Tori on this. Danny, we don't get to talk much. You're so darn busy doing videos and stuff these days. I can't keep up with you. But it's a pleasure to be here. And man, all I can say about these patches is 1,000% love them. Unbelievable.